Welcome everybody to Spinner Rack. This is our #1 first live show. Once again, part of the crew. We're not all here, but hey, Cal is here in spirit. But right now, it's me, B2B, and our man, PD, aka the Prime Minister. Today is our second day of Comic-Con, and we have had a blast. We've done a million things. PD, break it down for the fans, please.
Oh, well, we did a lot of stuff. We did a ton of stuff. Today, we went to see a Black Panther. What was it, a history of the Black Panther? We had many of the creators on there. Don McGregor. We had Christopher Priest. We had DMC was at that too. But
Christopher Priest. Definitive Black Panther.
No, Don McGregor also.
Well, let's not forget the Hoodlum brothers.
He wasn't there. But at the same time, we've been excited with watching all the cosplayers. It was a very intense, a ton of great outfits. I mean, just the experience. This is a sort of our first real, run and gun sort of shoot and trying to be there and meet everyone. We've gone to the DC booth. They've been very gracious to us, allow us to interview many people, like, artists for Suiciders with Lee. Thank you. And we also went for the DC, the girls from the animated show. We watched. We talked to a bunch of people out there. But we just
Fontana.
Yep, it was very exciting time. And what is your first impression of Comic-Con? Since we have 2 more days to go.
2 more days to go. It is huge. It's a crush. It's just all kinds of things. I mean, we've been all over the place. We've been to panels. We've been to Artist Alley. We've been to just talking to people, talking to cosplayers, seeing shows. It's just been amazing. And I would say it's a great thing for people to go. But man, it's crowded, I gotta say.
Well, I think it's gonna continue to get more crowded. So let's just slow it down, since we have time, and let's go through. Do you want to go through today, or do you want to go through yesterday? You remember?
Well, first of all, we went through. We this is the second day, right? So
second
Thursday,
day.
What did we do? We did oh man, it's just so much stuff. Your mind is blowing away.
Oh, it's all right. So. What was it?
Let's start today, and then
Today would be easier because I went to the Black Panther, and it was surprising because when I went in, we have a videographer, Sherman Lustgarter, and we were walking in, and I lost him, and the next thing you know, I'm seeing DMC from Run DMC there. He's in there because he does comic books, and we're like talking with him. I took a picture of him. Sorry, I can't show you right now.
But you will get it later, okay? So don't worry. We got all the good stuff, baby.
So, doing that, then as we said, Don McGregor, DMC, there's the artist for the future, I think it's World of Wakanda. They were talking about that, I think, which Christopher Priest might be writing. So there was a ton of talk about that, and then various stories about what happened during the time of trying to do a Black Panther comic book, a black hero in the 70s, and the struggles this writer, was a white writer, had in the 70s with the different Marvel, saying, because they're struggling with trying to sell it, throughout the 50 states. So they're looking at it and they're like, oh, you got this Black Panther comic? So where's the white guys? And they said, all right, I'll put up some white guys. His comment was, they're in the jungle. They're in Africa. You can't, wait. So he finally, broke down, put some white guys in there. The Black Panther fights the Klan. They're like, wait a second, that's not what we wanted. So that was one of the fun stories that was there. And then, but you went through a bunch of panels today.
Oh man, did we not? The last panel we went to before we came here was Black Sails. Let me tell you, the fan base for Black Sails is deep.
Let's go. Black Sails is a show on Stars.
It's a show on Stars about pirates, basically. And it basically talks about or develops the legend of Long John Silver. Everybody's read Treasure Story. Well, you should have, but everybody should have read Treasure Story. How
required reading.
I think required reading in like the 4th or 5th grade. But, and how that character develops. And I mean, the fan base, my gosh. I mean, were they not excited for that show?
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about, there were some hot actresses, I'll tell you that right now. They seem very intense. This is the final season. If you're interested in this show, if you're interested in pirates, I suggest you see it. It's on Stars. You should go. We'll definitely have an episode on that later on. Like I said, this is more a recap of what we've been doing so that you guys know what's going on.
Yeah.
Also, check out the website. We're going to post pictures there. That's spinnerrack.net, SPINNERRACK.net, okay? And we'll have more information. The blog is there, too. Another thing that I did today was I went to be self-publishing comic books. And that's been one of the narratives we're going to be having. We're going to have episodes on that, how if you want to get into the business, to do comic books, to do writing, and it was extremely informative. The panel were indie publishers, some who made it big with Marvel, and some of the bigger publishers, and they tell you how to go about it. And I mean, a lot of it is common sense, but the most important thing is to keep on doing it, keep on doing it, keep on doing it. Because the minute you stop, also take advice from others. But I mean, we'll talk more about that later.
Well, midday for me, I went to see, there's a new Underworld movie, and they had Kate Beckinsale speak there with her lead actor and the director, and she's very funny. I mean, I was for my own thing, I'm a big fan, and I was looking, maybe Kate Beckinsale can play in the British Avengers show. They should do a new British Avengers with Kate Beckinsale.
But she doesn't. Her English American accent is perfectly fine. She could have been the Black Widow herself. Right?
Yeah, she could do that. She could do that. She could do probably a bunch. She could be an actual Russian, a Russian Black Widow.
Well, I mean, she basically showed that she could do she's been doing an action hero, female action hero, successfully for several years now.
Yeah.
I mean, she could expand. Why Marvel never called her or DC never picked up on them? You just never know.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, she's she was very entertaining. She was like, like there's many jokes. They were like trying to play jokes on the lead actor and whatnot. So, and then they also did they say it's the final chapter, but Resident Evil, the final chapter.
How many final chapters has there been?
No, there hasn't been final chapter for it, but this time it's the final chapter for if you've been watching all 6 movies. So this 6th movie, everything that started in the beginning, they're going to close that stuff. Doesn't mean that it's over forever.
Oh boy.
But, she's back as Alice.
So she's not coming back?
She's coming back. No, she was extremely excited about it.
She needs to be back.
She was very excited. The same director from the beginning. Was it Landry? Is that the blonde that's in there?
Yeah, Ali Landry, yeah.
She's back, and then a ton of different actors and whatnot. So it was, and she was she was almost a rocker. She was so excited at the thing. So that was fun to see someone who's been in the franchise. But that's also a franchise that lasted. Even behind the scenes, we didn't know if it was released for a couple weeks, but the straight to DVD and the different cable channel sales has kept it going.
Of course.
And it's out, it's out there. So we've been like, oh yeah, this is just novelty. It's just that. But no, they've been interested in continuing on. And whereas other, games turned movies haven't lasted, they've stayed on. And you're like, so I was sitting in the movie theater and I turn to my wife and I say, you know what? If you're saying this is the final chapter, I say one thing to you guys. Furious 7. Keep on going. If you got a franchise, keep it going.
I agree.
Don't listen to the Rocky 10s. Don't keep going.
Well, don't call it Rocky 10. Call it Rocky: The Revenge of Rocky. Or
I'm saying,
Rocky Comes Back Home.
I'm saying the fact that we get sort of tired because when we put a 6 on the number of a franchise, we're like, oh my God, this is the 6th installment. When you watch, 5 seasons of a show that's running its course over and over again, trying to hit the same notes. So. Hey, if you like this stuff, you like the sort of futuristic zombie monster, in connection with the game, and you like Alice, come on, it's rich. She's still doing it. She's having fun. That's the important part of it.
Exactly. And we're getting something we like. I mean, this is like one of the first zombie, big apocalyptic movies that came out. And this was ahead of a lot of it, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to see Mila Jovanovic coming back. I'm glad that the franchise is coming back, for all those who liked it and supported it. I'm a strong believer in supporting creators. If you like something, go out there and spend your money. Because guess what? If you don't go out there and take your time to show money, to buy, or to look at these things, then it won't come back. And you're going to complain and say, oh, there's nothing but junk.
Yeah.
Go see these things. Support the creators. I'm all for that, okay? And that's one of the things, again, how to get involved in the business. We're pushing that so that you out there who's sitting down at your desk or sitting down at your table and say, oh, man, I could never do that. BS! Everybody said the same thing. Everybody on that panel. Something else I did today, I went to the Will Eisner and
Jack
Kirby panel. And it's pretty interesting that these guys, they basically talked about how they started. They were Jewish boys who basically came from Brooklyn and how they helped to define the comic book as we know it today.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty interesting story coming back. I mean, developing the comic books, also graphic novels, the history, the competition amongst each other, and how they identified themselves, post-war guys from Brooklyn trying to survive. I mean,
Well,
They came from the neighborhoods we grew up in.
yeah,
You know
but
what I'm trying
they're
to say?
also basically that's when a lot of people worked in sweatshops and the
Yeah.
comic industry. Even though you look at his pictures and art and writing and all that stuff, and even if you compare that to sort of like comic strips, it was a sweatshop of saying we need this amount of pages out.
Exactly.
And these guys started from that stage. And I mean, Will Eisner went from having his own studio to having his own character that he was able to experiment and do so much things and lead into the graphic novel. Whereas, you know, obviously Kirby with his output as far as from, you know, from the 40s to the 60s, and then Marvel, and then his own stuff in DC, and then just, you know, being around in general as far as just supplying the industry, where Will Eisner is at the start making the, you know, comic studio. Kirby had his studio, but then basically that 60s period of just, you know, pumping fuel into it, like putting all of his pages and whatnot and keeping the comic book industry going, which is more you know, it's a hard thing because everyone wants their art to be done and need time, you know, I want to take time, I want to do special, but at the same time, he was doing solid stuff, he was doing a lot of stuff, so, you know.
I know, and pretty interesting because again, I go back to that panel of starting your own stuff and being stuff, consistently doing the work, hitting deadlines. You know, this is what you have to do if you want to become big in this industry. You know, even if you don't become big, one guy says, they don't do comic book drawing because they're going to make $1 million. A lot of them are still driving escorts, but they do it for the passion. And this is something that you love and it's something that you want to do, you have to get into it. These guys, Jack Kirby, Will Eisner, they were writing it out like it was a sweatshop. Every day they had to produce, every day. And as time went on, they got better and more prolific in what they were doing. And this is what we're trying to tell you guys. Any one of you guys can do it.
Well, so then we're going to go to there's two things I want to go to first. The aspect of, if you're still here, you're home and you've gone, or you think about going, it's easier to go in the morning. Even though there's a hard push to get in, once you get in, you get to the panels real easy. There's less of a line. Obviously the Stranger Things had an extremely long line, but then that's why I got to the Black Panther show. So the first day, it was a lot less. And then what did we do?
But in the afternoon, it got pretty heavy.
It got, every time it's going to get more heavier because you think that, this is dying down. No, it's just picking up. Because everyone's like, I'm going to bring my family and my kids, and you're working, and you're like, I'll go later. And it's like, the thing is still going on. There's still a ton of things happening. But for my Thursday, me and Tatek, we went to
Cal.
I made a mistake. Cal went to, excuse me, that's some other person.
Yeah.
Cal, we went to see Stan Lee. We can't show you the pictures because it would reveal too much, but we got to meet Stan Lee. And then we also got to sit in the same room with Adam West, and he talked about Batman and whatnot in the press room. They had to actually force me in there because Cal has a press pass. In Comic-Con, you didn't feel the need that me and the rest of the crew needed to get passes, but we'll have to accept it. And we're still enjoying everything about it.
But DC felt that we were press, and they gave us access to everything. And so
Yes.
DC Entertainment, DC Animation, big ups to you. You know, you definitely treated us like one of the crew.
Yes.
Everywhere we went, people were letting us in wherever we needed to go to take shots of all kinds of different panels. And we're going to bring all that to you. There's just so much for us to show.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be putting up cosplayers on the website so you can see, and I'll be listing some of the things that we've been doing. I'm shocked that I can't remember everything I did today. It's just like
What
it's like
is going?
it
What
is like-
about go back to your Thursday?
to the Thursday?
Because we weren't together the entire
Oh
time.
man, Thursday we did How to Break Into Marvel again. From that.
Well, you also went to Joe Quesada,
Oh,
and you haven't explained. He hasn't explained that to me yet.
Joe Quesada.
Like he went to see Joe
He
Quesada.
is the chief creative officer of Marvel, and let me tell you, that was a fantastic interview. You've got to hear that. If I didn't get the picture right, we're gonna definitely get the audio. This guy basically says you just got to get out there, you know, and do what you have to do. You know, you have to prove yourself that you can do this job. I mean, he came at it from a different angle. He could have gone to Image at one point, you know, the second wave of creators, but he decided not to go that way. He started his own comic book company, basically in the midst of the comic book recession, after the variant titles all went down and stuff like that. And he persevered, you know. One thing that he said is that, you know, you get a lot of criticism in this industry, you know, but you gotta love what you do, no matter what, you know, because people are gonna criticize you. And one thing he did say, and a lot of people were like a little weird about it, was like it was a good thing to unmarry Spider-Man, Peter Parker. You know?
Well, just a case of how he did it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously you don't want a divorce, but then bringing in sort of the devil to unmarry
we
him.
know, but it's just that one thing he said is that you got to take risks. And when he came
Mm-hmm.
here, he said one of the big things about the variant covers is that it was the art was driving the whole thing. People were coming to get the art, and they wouldn't even open up the comic book. They just leave it in the plastic bags, and that's it. But he said when he came in, his desire was then to start making the story more of an important thing, you know? And that's what he did. And he said just trying new things. And I thought that was very important. I mean, he came out and just...
Are you sure that, I think it was also a bit of shock. You know, it wasn't just, oh, they're not reading the stories, because he's talked about it in the past, and I wasn't on the panel, but he's talked about it in the past, and he said it was the villain of the month. But the villain of the month could be considered a beginning, middle, and end. Right. Instead of trying to say, I want to do a story with 6 parts or 6 issues. So, I mean, it's just a different approach, but he brought a lot of, you know, it was like that sort of thing. Even if you're complaining, you're sort of checking it out and saying, oh, what is he doing? Why would he do this? And next month, why would he do that?
I know.
Why would he allow this?
He said that
you keep
too,
coming back.
But, you know, he said one of the things that when he started, Marvel wasn't part of Disney, you know, and basically Marvel had a 0 marketing budget.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, they had to do things to get things out there. So I think he pushed some of the storylines a little further than some of the regular
Editors
fans
and writers there?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, he's hired a lot of talented people.
Yes.
And because of him, I mean, Marvel is where it is up until this whole rebirth thing with DC. But that's a whole nother conversation. Check our old tapes out on YouTube and you'll see it.
Well,
at,
we
the Spinner Rack.
can spend like just a minute on it. Is that it's been like 3 months DC's been at the top because they've planned out their rebirth.
Excellent strategy.
Yeah, and that's basically the strategy that Marvel had. So they say in the next month they're going to do basically the same thing. They have a bunch of new number ones, and
Bi-weekly.
they've told everyone that they have a Spider-Man clone conspiracy. So we'll see what happens. There was a panel that we didn't get to, but there was on that. So get the app. Definitely get the Comic-Con app, because that's really been helpful to us, because we started one way, and then now we just we meet up at the end of the night, like, okay, schedule, and then we put it on, you go to the app, put everything in our schedule, and then we take that schedule and put it into our Spinner Rack schedule, and then we have to go get Cal and say, look at the schedule.
Well, we also, the great thing about that is that with the app, it allows us to, if our schedule is booked up, like there's some shows that were pretty booked up. We tried to get into Infinity Wars, couldn't get into that. There were some panels that were just packed. And what we were able to do is then see what else was available around the same time and go to see them for the panels.
Well, it's about also just having fun.
Oh,
so it's not like, oh, I didn't get to this or I missed that. You know, I think the same thing was happening with different things that didn't happen for, because we went to the DC table, and when we got there, we didn't know that Frank Miller would be one of the people was available to interview, but then they also helped us talk to a couple other people like Peter Tomasi, who writes Superman, and that wasn't planned, but we had done a couple earlier interviews. We saw him pass. We went back. The DC people were like, "Oh, hey, you're the Spinner Rack guys. Oh, yeah, you know."
They see the Spinner Rack. These t-shirts are available, everybody.
Oh, so
okay.
Right there.
$20 a pop.
No, they're not available for that. It's too much work for me to do. I'm not going to order and then send it. If that's the case, it's $50 a pop, but you know, it's done with love. You know, it's like it's all my love and care on the shirts.
But it's been a blast. Like I said, if we can do another one of these, I don't know if we can, but
no,
we're definitely going to do episodes about all the things we've been taking care of.
Yeah, okay? I mean, we've been enjoying having our show on the network.
We enjoy the crew.
Yeah, so they're very helpful. So.
You know, special thanks to Eminem as always for helping us out.
So what are we looking at tomorrow? We break the fourth wall and go to our schedule? Look at us. Here we go.
It's going to be a slamming thing.
We're letting you guys in on the high tech.
On the secrets for right now.
Oh, my friends are still ribbing me in my text messages, like maybe like some of yours.
Okay, tomorrow we have Birds of Prey interview. You know?
Go. That's
the DC people, they're hooking us up again. That's how we also have Batman. We have the Dark Justice Dark.
Oh yeah, there's also the Justice League Dark.
Yep.
They also did the first day. They also did the Capes Crusader. That's why Adam West was there. So they played the whole movie, but that was the only press thing. But they're having movies. They're doing clips of movies, and then they also have large. They had a South Park, whole big South Park, like almost like a
The entrance,
Entrance,
like
yeah.
like a live
like an obstacle course
yeah.
experience with the South Park characters, but they're not like little. They're like big, huge.
Yeah. But they also had something too for Stars had something for Ash.
Yes,
versus
Ash versus Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, which is pretty interesting.
There's that.
Pretty interactive.
And then there's a ton of just basic things for you to stop in, like there's a Star Trek table. You can go in, take a picture in the captain's chair. And the same, if you go to the Samsung table, you can go in their 360 camera and take videos and do something like that. Besides going to artist like now, once you get into the artist alley, then it's gonna slow down to a trudge. You're gonna feel like you're on the West Indian Day Parade because everything's gonna slow down.
Yeah, I take offense to that. What are you
What?
talking
I
about?
like
No,
it, but
no,
at some point,
it
does slow down. And sometimes the things slow
Why are you
down.
gonna say the West Indian Day Parade like that for, huh?
I like the
Hey,
West
man,
Indian
take
Day
it back,
Parade.
man.
There's nothing wrong with the West Indian
Oh, man.
Day Parade,
It's
but
enough space. It depends on where you are. If you're on Utica and Eastern Park, it's a little tight.
it's
Down
always
Franklin,
tight.
Franklin, where the Panamanians are, it's enough respect, baby.
It's nothing about being negative about it. It's just tight at the artist alley.
Okay.
But there's a ton of great artists that you should see. And then just go to DC, IDW, Marvel tables, a ton of things to buy, look at, and tons of things going on. So I guess
Yeah, I mean that's a quick wrap up of what we were doing. We hope that is what you wanted to see.
we should keep,
Sophie, do you want to go check something out while I continue with the crew to make sure everything is okay?
yeah, you want me to check things out? I'll check things out. I'll be right back.
Yes.
They'll
And
tell
I'll
them.
try to see if I can talk to them about one of the things that we did yesterday on Thursday.